I got some stuff in the mail. I pre-ordered it. So I was like, okay, I need to get it just in case. But it's fairly cheap. If you're on a budget, playing the game, it's a bit of an expense. It's good to know that this is a satellite deck. It's not that expensive. There's a few expensive cards like the Corn Gandrex, but for the most part, fairly budget. Like of course, you need to get this as well. Your C-Tree. C-Tree's a little bit expensive, but not too much compared to the meta decks. And it's quite a competent deck. So like if you're on the fence about it, it's pretty good. You could even play pure, go real simplistic with it. Bunch of hand traps, right? Pure with a bunch of hand traps with like your droplets. Droplets are fairly cheap as well. Got reprinted, but there's like a current list that's going around that utilizes the Azamina cards, right? And the cash cards, and those kind of bump up the price a bit. For those of you that have been keeping up with this Crystron journey that I've been testing, I've been streaming and I've been showing you guys a few different builds, but initially I was looking over some stuff that you could play. That's why I got the Frog Engine. This gives you what Adventure does now, except without the interaction, without the bounce. Usually what happens here is you discard any Crystron, they're all water, and then you dump the Ice Jade guy. Ice Jade guy will then trigger, giving you the spell that reborns it, and then you reborn it, and then you go in for a Toad, and then you can continue to play after. It was okay. I mean, there's some other applications you can do with this where go for an early SP. It's like a 2-card SP, kind of, I guess. But the card you're discarding isn't really a cost. It's okay. I just disregarded it after I found the Adventure Engine because the Adventure Engine is just insanely good. And then this as well. This is something I was testing where you play Undyne, but bricks. The whole concept was get to Undyne, dump Crystron name, go link for this. It'll add you back the Undyne, summon the Undyne again, dump again, search another one, and then like special, and then summon this, and then climb from there. But like, I don't know, it seems a bit bricky, but it's something else you can do. And then I came across the Adventure Engine. Right? The Adventure Engine is just, I think it's so good. And this budget as well, doesn't change the value too much, made these cards far better because it actually gave your deck a different layer of gameplay. Because even without this, but you can view this essentially as the same card because they're trying to facilitate the same thing. This will convert into a Cherubini, and then Cherubini would typically just give you access to any of the Crystrons, whether it be Smyger or TEESPRING. But because now you're implementing Adventure, it can give you access to either or, whatever it is that you're missing. Because it threatens an Omni, going second, it can force a bounce on an Omni before you even commit to anything. And you can view Tidal in the same way because discarding any water, you discard these two, you dump Enchantress, you dump Enchantress, you dump this. And that is insanely good for the deck's consistency, because it'll give you what you're missing depending on the situation you're in. And I think for a budget option, it is insane because it makes Ash kind of irrelevant and less impactful. Let's say you discard these two, because that's one of the biggest things that you'll argue. Like, okay, what if this gets ashed? Most likely, you're going to be sending something that you don't mind discarding that will net you value, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't play this. They have to contemplate whether they ash you here or they have to ash the Enchantress. Regardless, you're going to bait the ash no matter what. And if they're still persistent on holding the ash for later, it's just going to be very low impact, because then you go, okay, effect. Okay, now you have access to your right, and then right will then give you access to your Griffin. So what are they trying to ash the Fateful at that point? It's still fine, because what you really want to resolve and not get ashed is the Smyger sequence. You're still doing what you want to do anyways. You're baiting an interaction, because once it resolves, right, you get an Omni. And if it don't interact with you, it's perfectly fine as well. Because at this point, once you get past the ash interaction, now you're insulated from Imperm, because Imperm would be the next in line to interact with you, yeah? So now they're dealing with this. So let's say Tidal would have sent your Smyger, banish Smyger, they ask you there, negate. If they have Imperm for this to stop your Smyger, then you could possibly already have the cards you needed anyways. But let's say you're here, search your inclusion, right? Inclusion would then search you your Sylphador, and then you just play as you would, except now you have an Omni to protect your plays, which is really, really good. Just having that as an option instead of just playing pure, because pure is consistent, but I feel like it's too predictable, especially now in the early days where people are not really sure where to interact with you, and you'll get a few wins based off ignorance because they don't know what you're doing. But eventually that's going to wear off, and they're going to know exactly where to interact. And this basically makes it so it doesn't matter, and you force it out of them, right? You force the ash, you force the Imperm, you want to force all these things, and implementing these cards just makes the deck so much better. Just try it, you'll see what I mean. It just makes the biggest difference. The fact that this could be a one card SP is insane. If you already have access to both engines, right? Let's say you already have Enchantress, let's say you already have Smyger, right? And then this can turn into one card SP. Go in second, you go special this, search your Takaton Borg, special your Takaton Borg, right? And the cool thing about Takaton Borg is that it can be specialed alongside your Griffin. So like if they're remove your token in some way and you still have Griffin on field, you can special this regardless and then make this a Clockwork Knight, and you can make an SP with these two, or you can make an SP with these two, which is hilarious. So you link this away for your Clockwork Knight, right? You go Clockwork Knight, and then you can go SP here or SP there and keep this on field for a Cherubini line, assuming you have this. Then you can normal summon, go Cherubini, assuming they, let's say you do this. SP, effect, they chain, right? And then now, assuming they left this on field, then you can just summon this, go Cherubini. You go Cherubini to protect yourself from destruction, which is something that's quite prevalent at the moment, especially with the Mitsugarui cards. Having that as an option is quite good, because then you can protect him as well by sending the Fateful and then preserve your destruction thing. Then you can send another name, whether it be TEESPRING, right? Let's say you have TEESPRING. It'll let you sequence your turn in a different way because you can search Sofofnir. Just make it really obscure for your opponent while maintaining the deck's consistency, because you're adding cards that are not Crystron cards, but they have so much synergy with each other, which is really good. And the cool thing about this version, you can afford to max out your TEESPRING as well, because you want waters to pair with your Tidal, right? Like discarding this makes it really weird too, because that means you're always going to be baiting Ash no matter what. They Ash you here, that's fine. They search your Smiger, and you continue to play unhindered. And then the next interaction with it move on to either Impulse or Imperm, but Ash is out of the equation, so you don't have to worry about that. And that's something to consider. Baiting Ash consistently, the relief you have is just a lot better. Because like this variant works too. Because if you've been keeping up with the streams, I was kind of reluctant on implementing this engine because I really enjoy the Crystron engine alongside the Speedward stuff. So I wanted to maintain that, and I didn't want to have to choose, because if I had to choose, I would go for this. But I was like, let me just test it, because in theory, you would think that Terratop and the cast cards kind of conflict. They both require you to have an open field. The way you mitigate that is by having access to the SP, which is what I just showed you. So let's say, for example, you go special this, you add your Taketon board. Let me move this out of the way. You go special. Okay, this will link into your Clockwork Knight, and then this will turn into your SP. So you force a response, effect, banish. They chain, you chain, banish off the field. And then now your field is open to play with cash cards. You can special, search, birth, and then if you have access to the rest of your engine, whether it be Summon Smiger or Enchantress, right? Then you proceed from there. And it's like not much of an issue. So I ended up just meshing everything together in a 60 card build, and go ahead and check it out. Check out the gameplay, and it's all timestamped, and you'll see what I mean. And then after that, try out the deck, and it's insane. But yeah, if you want to go on the budget, you can go without this, because the deck can function as well without the cash cards and as amino cards. These elevate the list as well. Just try it. Just try it. It's really fun. And every sequence will be different because they interact at a different point, so you won't get bored. And that's one of the issues with Yu-Gi-Oh! At times, where you buy or you pay for a deck and you pay X amount of money, and then like, oh, damn, I'm bored already. What the hell? Like, what do I do now? Then you have to go buy another deck. And then, but this one, there's a lot of different lines you can do based on how they interact, because everyone will interact with you differently based off the insight that they have upon the deck. And with that in mind, every game will vary and you won't get bored. But that's basically it. I just wanted to make this little video just going over some of the things I was considering, and just going over the budget option that you can do, because it's really nice. I think that this is pretty good for the deck. It's really good. For the most part, that's gonna be it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let's subscribe if you haven't, and thanks for watching.